What's good, YouTube? It's your boy JusticeXFalls. We back at it again with another video, and today we're doing something a little different. We're doing a controller comparison. So the controllers we're going to be comparing mostly are going to be the new PlayStation 5 DualSense Edge controller and the Xbox Series X and S controller. Sorry, the Xbox Series Elite 2 controller. So as you can see, there are a lot of similarities and there are a lot of differences as well. First, we're going to look at price comparison. So without further ado, let's get to the video. All right, so boom, here we go. So this is the latest one that came out for Xbox, the Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2 Core. So the difference between this one and this one in my hand right here is that it's a lower price. It's a more affordable entry level price to the pro controller market, and it's first parties from Xbox. Normally you'd have to rely on Scuff or a Power A or another company to provide you with a Pro Series controller, but Microsoft and Sony is stepping their game up and they trying to grab up that market share. So this one has adjustable tension thumbsticks. You can do that on this one. Shorter hair trigger locks. Okay, I guess that's an improvement upon this one. Wraparound rubberized grip. We already have that on this one. And re-engineered component. So don't know what that means. So let's scroll down and see if we can figure out what that means. Redefined components that are built to last, built to performance. Enhance your aiming and new adjustable tension thumbsticks. Fire even faster with shorter hair trigger locks and stay on target with the wraparound rubberized grip. I thought this already has the wraparound rubberized grip. The same thing. And okay, shorter hair triggers. I guess that's what they optimize. So the other thing about this controller is that it does not come with everything that obviously Elite Series 2 controller. And I'm glad this screen popped up because now you can look at it for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. So the Core series, which is originally $129, which is on sale for $110 right now, it just comes with the braided charging cable and the thumbstick adjustment tool. So when you take off the thumbstick, you can use that little tool to tighten it or loosen it to improve your sensitivity to your liking. Whereas with the Elite Series controller, it's coming in at $179 and you get everything with it. You get extra paddles. You'll see that later in the comparison video. You'll see that later in this comparison video. Sorry, I'm getting twisted up on my words. I haven't done one of these type of videos in a while. And I don't do any scripts. It's just all live with me. So yeah, you get the pouch, you get the charging cable, and you get the charging port, because you can put it, you can charge it through the back of the case, which I forgot to mention because it's so weird because I recorded the comparison part first without recording the intro first, so I didn't mention this, which I'll mention it now. Each of these ports have a charging cable in there. You can put, when you put your controller through, your controller USB port will pop out. You can charge it while it's in the case. So that's the case for both of these things. You can see it here too with this one, with the Xbox One. So yeah, forgot to mention that, but yeah. So it all depends on what's your vibe. I'm sorry, there's kids in the hallway crying, yelling. I guess they're getting out of school or whatever. Now the shared features that they both have is what you mentioned earlier: adjustable thumbsticks, shorter hair trigger locks, wraparound rubberized grip, 40 hours of rechargeable play, 3 custom profiles, which we'll get into later, and custom button mapping on the Xbox accessories app, so you can play across a multitude of devices. Anything that has Bluetooth, you can connect this controller to. So we'll also go over that stuff later in the video. So now we're going to take a look at the Series Elite controller, which basically is going to have the same information. It's going to be a $179. It's basically going to have the same information that we had from before. So there's a controller with all 4 paddles on. I decided to not use paddles for mine. It's my personal preference, but I do use paddles for the PlayStation 1 because I like these half dome paddles. Those are better than the other ones. So moving on along, we got the DualSense Edge controller, built with high performance and personalization in mind, this PS5 controller invites you to craft your own unique gaming experience you can play your way. All right, so perfect your gameplay. So it has a lot of the, again, as you can see, it has a lot of the same features. It has changeable stick caps. It has the adjustable trigger lengths. It has the braided cable, and the one thing that this has that the Xbox One doesn't have is that locking mechanism that I will show you guys later. It's in the case, and that prevents, you know, that prevents the controller from slipping out and causing latency. So I see a lot of like fighting game players playing this, like a lot of Evo, those kind of guys playing this. Yeah, I see them going after that. That's like a pro feature. So you also have the function buttons where you can quickly swap between profiles. We'll take a look at that later as well. And then it also has that design where it's like all of the face buttons inside the controller. Like if you zoom all the way in, it still has that on there, just in case people were wondering if that was missing. So you have a multitude of features on these controllers. You have the charging station for it. My opinion is that it's worth the money. Some people think this controller is too expensive. It's $200. You get all of this for $200. You get obviously the controller, the bladed cable, 2 standard caps, 2 high dome caps, 2 low dome caps, 2 half dome back buttons, which is what I use, and 2 lever buttons, which is more what you would see on the Xbox controller. Where's that? Where is it at? Hold on. Right here. These 2. Those are called lever back buttons. So, and then you get the connector housing, which is the connection through the back, so you can charge it wirelessly. And yeah, you got all these content creators. You got Berlizzi, you got Cash. You got a bunch of content creators showing you how good this controller is, and to me, as a person that's not whose content is not even monetized, so I'm doing this because I like to do it. Not to say they aren't, but these people, all people are getting paid and probably got paid to have their video displayed there, or got these controllers sent to them. As somebody who is just doing it off the love and just spending the money because I'm a gamer, and I'll be talking about these things with my friends or other people online anyway, I would say it lives up to the hype, definitely. So I think it's definitely worth that $200 if you're not too much of a stickler for spending money. I feel like if you're a gamer, you're ready to spend money. Like you're just ready to spend money. Like if you're a gamer, so $200 ain't really nothing compared to how much you spent on one item in the past or any other time. So yeah, so now we're gonna take a look at these 2 controllers side by side, and we're gonna do a comparison of a bunch of other controllers, both past and present. So let's get it. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Floss, back at you again with another video. Nah, I always wanted to do that. Shout out to my boy Flossy Cardio, best tech reviews ever, bro. Check him out if you don't know who I'm talking about. But yeah, we got the 2 controllers on deck. The 2 big boys. We're gonna do a bunch of controller comparisons. Right off the rip, you see it comes with the pouches, which are really awesome, really high grade, really well built. A braided cable. Both of these come with a very high quality Type C braided cable. I think they're both the same length, if I'm not mistaken. And then inside the case, you have your extra paddles, your extra D-pad. For the PlayStation 1 in particular, you get this little locking device. You put this on when you connect your USB to the device, it locks it in place so that if you snatch away from it, it won't break away. But it might pull your PS5 forward, so be careful with that, please. And this little empty space in here that you see is for an extra module, controller module. This lifts up, and you can take this out. Let's see if we can do it here on camera for y'all. There's a little release button. This is more difficult than I thought. There we go. So we took it off, and then here's the piece here. There's a release button on the back here at the bottom. And then these latches flip up, as you can see here. And the modules slide right out. And if you want to buy extra module just in case you get stick drift, you place it right in there. They have the modules for, I believe, $20. $20 from the Sony Direct website. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it did take me a little bit to get that in there, so that is kind of annoying, but eventually we got it in there, and it's supposed to just snap back in place as well when you're putting it back in, which it does. It's back in already. And then on the back you have the saddles, which are really easy to take off. They're magnetized, so you just pull it back and you just pull it off. There's a little notch that goes inside, just like that. So I think Sony, they really just was like, you know what, I see what Microsoft's doing, why not do it? Microsoft is the same thing. You can put the paddles on the back. I don't really use the paddles like that because I wish there were more Sony style. Honestly, like these half dome paddles, I wish that the Xbox paddles were like that. So I don't even use the Xbox paddles, but they are easy to slip on. It's the same idea. It's a little notch that goes inside, and it just pops right in, like magnetized, like it just magnetizes right in there. Boom, as you can see. But yeah, it comes with another D-pad as well. It comes with another dome, with another what am I saying? Another cushion for your analog sticks, if that's what you fancy. These just pop right out, and with the Xbox one, you can screw it to make the resistance of the sensitivity a little bit tighter if that's your vibe. But these just pop right out, and you can replace them with these that it comes with. And the same thing with the Sony one. This just pops right off, and you can replace it with the more traditional style PlayStation rubber dome switches, which will give you that vintage feel. So next up, what we're gonna do is compare these controllers to our their cousins or their forefathers. We got some last gen controllers here. We got some third-party controllers here. So let's get to the comparison. All right, first of all, obviously we're gonna compare the two main attractions to each other. Obviously the design is very similar front and back, and it looks like Sony took the same model as Microsoft, which was, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They just took the basic design of the DualSense controller and they just upped it, just like they took the design of the regular Xbox controller and they just upped it. You see back here you have the locks for the controllers. Well, that controls how much you can press down on these analog sticks. And even if you look at the analog sticks together, they have a similar design. They have more of like a trigger design. And I like the fact that Sony's one, they always had it to where there's no like encasing for it, as the Xbox does, because that can cause some pinch points. Like when you're really going hard, you're really playing some Call of Duty or a fighting game or something like that, that can cause pinch points. But I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, to be honest. So we're gonna bring in some other controllers. This controller is the one that comes with the Xbox Series X with the with this granular kind of grip on it. This kind of like almost sweat-proof grip with the matte design. They kind of went ham on that design with this controller because they added it to the front as well as more, and they added more on the back. So like I said, they're taking what's good about it and enhancing that and eliminating what's bad about it. That's why the controller costs so much. So we also have the original DualSense controller for Sony. Again, as you can see, they took the original design, went ham, stepped it up a bit. This controller is considerably more heavy than this one, and I would probably say the same for these. So yeah, this controller, the newer one, is significantly more heavier because there's more technology inside of it. As you can see from the PlayStation controller, they changed the buttons a little bit. They made the buttons black instead of white. I didn't really like the white on white finish, to be honest. I think they should have came with the black buttons from the beginning. And with the controller, but with the Xbox controller, I do like that they blacked it out, because originally you can see it comes with the original colored face buttons, but here they blacked it out. So I kind of like that vibe. That vibe was dope. So we also have the controller that comes with the Xbox Series S, which is, I heard it's supposed to be an update, like an update to the controller, but I don't really think they changed much except for, not even the D-pad, because like if you look at these two controllers, there's not much of a weight difference. I would say, I guess the only difference would be that grip that they added is more smoother, it's less abrasive than this controller. I made an original comparison controller between this controller and these two controllers in the DualSense controller, because a lot of people were complaining about this controller hurting people's hands, like people that had smaller hands, which I thought was kind of weird, because it's like, I don't know. But then I got some insight from people in the comments. Shout out to you, for those of you who commented back then. Hopefully you comment this video as well. They were saying that, you know, being that the controller is slightly smaller, which it is, it's smaller than the previous iteration, which would be this one, that it hurts people's hands. Now with this controller, back in the day when I used to in my last apartment, used to have my boys over a lot, and, you know, they smoke, so we would have to have the spray that knocks out the scent automatically. It's like this thick essential oil that you spray into the air. Now this got on my controller, and since then I have not been able to clean it off, and this was years ago. So if you look at this controller and you look at these two controllers side by side, you can tell it's kind of smaller. It is kind of smaller, but this one is heavier for some reason. I guess because it has more technology in it, like I said before. But this controller was hurting gamers' hands and this wasn't. So I found that interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna tag that video at the end of the video or in the annotation, so y'all can go check out that comparison video. I did it in, like, I think it was like 2020. But yeah, this is the older Xbox One controller. When you get controller for Xbox One, this is what they look like. It has that grip on it, but it's way smoother on the back than this one. If you look at this one, it's way smooth. If you feel these two together, way smoother on this one than it is this one. So next up, just for shits and giggles, we're gonna bring out the Google Stadia. So here's the Google Stadia controller. So I also did a video on Google Stadia, and I tried to play it before it shut down, and I was able to, but just barely, because I had to make a new account and I had to find some workarounds to get it. And it was a bit of a hassle, but you can check that video too. I'll link it in the annotations or at the end of the video. Those will be the two videos I'll link: the previous controller comparison and my Stadia attempt. So this is a very ergonomic design as well. It feels good in the hand. This controller is very light and it feels so comfortable in my hands. I don't know what it is. Like, this is a well-designed controller. That's why I decided to keep the controller. I got this Stadia from my cousin, because he got his for free, and then I was like, yo, I can make content with that if you're not gonna use it, so let me use it. So he just gave it to me to use. And what I like about this controller the most, the Google Stadia, as compared to these two controllers, I would say the triggers feel really good. It feels like you're actually pulling a trigger, because it's like I don't know, it's just like, it just has that feel. Like, if you know, you know. Like, I'm not gonna start talking about guns on the channel, but you know, it just feels like it. Whereas these two do as well, but it's like, it's not that same vibe. I don't know. Y'all could disagree with me. People that have pulled multiple triggers before, y'all could agree or disagree with me. But yeah. So that's a Google Stadia. I think that's a pretty dope controller to compare with these two. You know, size wise and thickness wise. You can see, you know, the two big boys are thicker. But this is actually a really good controller, and I plan on using it a lot. So we're gonna leave this one here, and we're gonna also add the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Another great controller. It's a little small for my hands, but I'll tell you this, it works perfectly. I've never had, like, playing Smash with this, I feel godlike. I prefer playing Smash with this other than the GameCube controller. Now, some of y'all might say I'm bugging, but I really feel like this controller is the best controller to play anything on your Nintendo Switch, whether you're docked or on the TV. Zero latency, and if there's latency, you can plug it in if you want to. you know. And this has like a more glossy finish. This is not like a matte finish right here, as you can tell. This is very glossy. And then this is like a see-through design. I don't know if it comes through on the camera, depending on how the light's hitting it, but this is like a see-through design, which I've always been a fan of. It's very retro vibes. As compared to the other controllers, this would probably be the lightest one, which I expected because it has the least technology in it. I know y'all probably annoyed at me keep saying technology, but that's the best word I could think of to come up with it. Components, parts, whatever you want to say. Yeah, it's definitely a smaller, more compact controller, but I like the triggers. I like the face buttons. Face buttons are really fat and big, and then pause. But yeah, even the D-pad is pretty cool. The D-pad is even pretty cool on this. I like that. So our last comparison. No, matter of fact, we have two more. So this controller is actually also for the Xbox One. This is one of those custom controllers that they came up with. I had the same issue where I sprayed the stuff, it got on the controller, and I can't clean it, so if it looks dirty, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. I've been trying to clean it for years. If you have any tips, let me know. This controller was part of a series of controllers where it had this grip on the front. And I remember playing Batman Arkham Knight a lot with this. This controller is really dope. This controller is really dope. That's why I still have it to this day. Obviously, it takes batteries, but you know, we not poor around here. I keep 100 batteries in that drawer right there to the left. So it also has that glossy grip on the back, as opposed to that more like matte style grip. I guess that's just a product of playing it over and over. You sweat, you soften it up. I guess that's the idea of it. I'm pretty sure this was a little rougher when I first got it. But yeah, this is one of those custom Xbox controllers. This is first party though, so you can get it from. You can probably go on the website and find it. If not, you can get it at GameStop. So I like this. I like this controller. Definitely one of my favorite controllers that I've ever bought. And the last one we have is I call it the Pimp controller. It's that gold PS4 controller. Now I don't have a gold PS4, but I love this controller just because how stylish it is. I don't know what's this little smudge on it. Okay, I was able to take it off, but it also has like a grip on it. But this is also a smoother grip. I think it just came like that, like with a smoother grip to it. And this is also one of my favorite controllers. I will use this. Like I don't really play fighting games on PlayStation, but when I was using that controller, killing the game. Shooters, killing the game. The PS4 controller definitely is up there. What do they call it? DualShock 3, I guess, or DualShock 4 or whatever. DualShock 4. But yeah, this controller, dope. Compared to the other two, obviously you can tell just by looking at it that it's lighter, but picking it up, yeah, it is lighter. This PS4 was the last controller I think that kept the vibes of the vintage controllers with the long, grips and the big face button, big D-pad. Because this is probably the same D-pad they've been using since back in the day, but just more enhanced. And same thing with the analog sticks, except it doesn't have like the dome style grip on it. But yeah, these controllers is taking me down memory lane. I'm thinking of bad gaming experiences I've had, but let me not get into a rant. But yeah, I just wanted to show y'all the controllers and how they stack up against other modern controllers. I'm sorry they're doing gardening out there. Not my fault. I didn't know that. So yeah, I just wanted to show y'all the size and component difference. If you don't really have these controllers laying around, this video would be a good reference point for that. If you have any other requests that you want me to do, then I'll do them, so let me know. So we're going to kick it back to me for the closing thoughts. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about before we get out of here is the techie, boring stuff. I guess the stuff that makes these controllers worth the price that they are, and that would be the controller mapping. So with the Xbox One, you have this button. With the Xbox Series controller, you have this button in here, and you can switch between 3 profiles that you can program through the Xbox app. So you want to go into the Xbox app, right, and you want to go and download it, and then after you download it, it's probably going to ask you to upgrade the controller, which is usually the case for when you have a new product. It's going to ask you to plug in and upgrade the controller, and after you do that, and after the app downloads, you'll be able to go in and you can remap all the buttons on the controller that you want save it as a profile, move on to the next profile, map all the buttons that you want, and it could be a combination of the back facing buttons as well. You can program any of these back buttons to any button on the controller. Like you can make this left paddle another X button, you can make it another Y button, you can make it a left bump, you can make it a right thumbstick click, you can make it whatever you want. You can make any button on the controller to customize your experience. I see a lot of like Call of Duty players probably taking advantage of that, or like Devil May Cry players, because instead of playing with that eagle claw control grip, which is really weird to me, you could just program the buttons in a way where you can use your other appendages to your other phalanges to click the buttons on the back of the controller. There is a learning curve to that though, because I tried it when I first bought the controller, and I was playing 2K because I thought I could make it easier to play 2K, but I was over here clicking the back button, pressing steel by mistake, shooting it from half court. So it's a learning curve with these paddles. But guys are the pros. If you're buying this controller and you're a pro already, and you've had other pro controllers like Scuff, which have paddles on the back, things of that nature, you'll have no problem adjusting to this. Same thing with the PlayStation 1. The PlayStation 1, it has these function buttons right here. It has these function buttons on the bottom. When you tap the function buttons, you can switch between the profiles that you create on the built-in. Actually, it's not an app; it's integrated into the PlayStation. Like once you hook up the controller and you update it, it'll be the app that you use to map your controls will be integrated into the menus of the PlayStation console itself. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's a little more of a streamlined experience. You don't have to flip through the channels like you do with the Xbox to go change your settings, which the Xbox one is not bad. Like if you've been playing Xbox for this long, you're used to it, but the PlayStation one is cool too. So I would say as far as which one's better, I don't know. They both so far. I've had the Xbox Series 2 controller for probably a year. Well, a lot. I feel like at least a year, and then same thing with the DualSense Edge. I probably had this around less than a year, but like probably since it came out basically. So January. So like 3 months. But I know that this Sony controller was heavily inspired top to bottom by the Xbox One, like just how it feels and just how it controls and just how you can customize it and things of that nature. So I would definitely say if you have the money and you have both consoles, get both, or whatever console you have, get the one that's for your console. And I guarantee you, it will become your main controller. Like we all have our main controller that, all right, nobody could touch this controller. Like this is my controller. I play every game with this controller on my console. So I guarantee you'll switch that favorite controller. Remember I told you I had a couple favorite controllers in there, but I ended up switching to these two controllers as my mains because they just work. The buttons feel more, I don't know if it's like a placebo effect, but the buttons just feel more responsive when you're playing the game, and it just feels smoother. The analog sticks feel smoother. Everything about the controller feels smoother no matter what game I'm playing. So I could be wrong, but that's how I feel. I'm just telling y'all how I feel. So that was my controller comparison. I hope y'all like it. We got some other content on the channel. Again, like I mentioned, I have my previous generation controller comparison, and I also have Stadia, a Stadia last, like a last ditch kind of thing, because that's dying or it's dead already by the time this video comes out. Yeah, just check those out. If you like what you see, like, sub up. We trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this year. We at 525. We doing the damn thing. I appreciate everybody that's pulling up to the videos, liking it. I don't care if it get 4 views. The long y'all 4 people that pulled up to watch it, thank you. I don't care if you get 100, 1,000. Like, I appreciate everybody that comes to the channel to support me, because y'all pushing me one step forward to a dream that I have. So thank you. So that's all I got. So y'all already know the vibes. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's your boy JusticeXFalls, and we out. One.